This is the Puma Ultra 1.2, the top-end speed boot from the Puma brand, bearing a retail price of $200, and one that you could argue, depending on what you're looking for, is currently the best speed boot on the market. But not everybody has $200 to spend on a pair of football boots, which is why this exists. Ladies and gentlemen, the Puma Ultra 2.2, the first takedown model in the Ultra lineup, bearing a retail price of $130. But perhaps even more important than the lower price tag is the fact that this is a football boot that shares many of the same features with the top-end model. And this is where I'd like to apologize to you guys for not talking about these sooner, because there's some serious value for money to be had here, and good reason to pick these over its main competitors like the $140 Mercurial Vapor 14 Pro and the $120 X-Ghosted 0.2. With that said, the Ultra 2.2 is not without its compromises, just like any other takedown model, but considering the extremely competitive category that it falls into and what your alternatives are for similar amounts of money, they have a lot going for them, and it may be a boot that you want to consider even though you weren't considering it before. We're going to talk about all that in today's video, as well as how they fit and feel on feet. So if you're interested in learning more, please stick around and watch the entire review. And if you're interested in a pair for yourself, I'll leave a little pop-up on screen, or you can click the first link down below. That's going to take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal retail price. As always, if you guys do end up enjoying the video and want to see more reviews of takedown models on the channel, don't forget to support this one with a like. And I've also noticed that a lot of you guys who watch these videos aren't subscribed to the channel. If that's you, it would mean a lot to me if you could hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. Oh, and by the way, today's video is brought to you by Curex insoles. I reviewed their Cleat Pro insoles almost 3 years ago and have used them exclusively ever since. The only issue has been availability, but that has now changed, and I'm super happy to have partnered with Curex and also be able to offer SR4U fans a discount on their Cleat Pro insoles, which you can take advantage of by checking out the link in the description. If you find your football boots are lacking in comfort and especially in arch support, these Cleat Pro insoles will make a huge difference for you. It features their special flexible, low-profile arch support system that's actually available in high, medium, as well as low arch types, as well as in 6 different trim to fit sizes, so you can get the exact fit for your football boots because of the low profile design. They're also made out of super high quality materials that are going to be significantly nicer than the stock insoles that come in your boots, and also have these little rubberized grips in the heel, forefoot, and near the toe to prevent a little bit of extra slippage underneath your feet. So first things first, I want to talk about and show you the weight of the Ultra 2.2, because when you're talking about speed boot takedown models, that's typically one of the major things that drops off at the lower price points. The boots just end up getting significantly heavier when compared to the top models. Not so much the case here with the Ultra 2.2. In a size 9.5 US, you can see that they weigh in at 6.9 ounces, the equivalent of 196 grams, which not only makes this significantly lighter than both the Vapor 14 Pro and X-Ghosted 0.2 that it competes against, it's actually lighter than the top-end options from Nike and Adidas in the Vapor 14 Elite and the X-Ghosted Plus and 0.1. The only thing it's not lighter than is the top-end Ultra 1.2, which still beats it out by about half an ounce. That boot is just ridiculously lightweight. But as far as takedown models go, as far as football boots go, these are extremely lightweight on your feet. Part of how they were able to achieve such a lightweight construction ultimately comes down to the sole plate and stud pattern, which, if you're familiar with the top-end Puma Ultra, this is exactly the same thing. It's what's listed as a PBA speed unit, PBA being P-backs without the X because they don't want to pay the licensing fee, but it's effectively the same lightweight base, although there is a difference with the way that it's reinforced internally, where it looks like the plate they've put in the forefoot is a little bit stiffer and a little bit thicker, which I assume is where some of that extra weight is coming from. Not to the point where the boot is awkwardly stiff or unnecessarily stiff. It just feels a little bit more solid underfoot, where the top-end Ultra is slightly more flexible. So I would really chalk it down to more of a personal preference difference rather than a performance difference. For those that are wondering, you do maintain the external heel counter, which I'm personally a big fan of, and you maintain the exact same FG AG stud pattern, with the all-bladed kind of chevron studs. Very Mercurial-esque, very aggressive in terms of its overall traction. I still don't think that this is a great stud pattern for use on artificial grass. If you're only using it on that surface once in a while, I suppose it's okay. But in general, on a surface like that, I find this to be a little bit clingy. But on natural grass, the performance is top-notch and just about as good as anything. It's not all great though. The upper is one of those things that I think some people are going to love and some people are going to hate. It does have very similar looking branding, and you might be tricked into thinking it's the same upper as the top end Ultra 1.2 just based on how it looks. But instead of Matrix Evo, it's actually Matrix Pro. So it's still made out of woven polyesters, but you don't get the extra types of yarns like the Kevlars and other types of materials used in that top-end Matrix Evo upper that ultimately make that boot feel super thin, really structured, obviously very lightweight, but also pretty sock-like on your feet. This is significantly thicker and significantly stiffer than what you're gonna find from that top-end model. And I mean this in the nicest way possible, although you might view this as a totally negative thing. It kind of reminds me of the stiffer Tajin synthetic uppers that we used to get from the Nike Mercurial series back in the Vapor 4, 5, 6 era, and 7. While it looks very much like a knitted upper, because that is effectively what it is, the predominant sensation you're going to get from this material is more of a thin synthetic kind of plasticky feel, a little bit on the rigid side, especially out of the box, although they do soften up and become more flexible as you wear them in. It's nice that they're lined in this really soft, slightly padded material, which doesn't really make you feel the stiffness of the material that is there out of the box. But the reason why the upper does feel on the firmer side is because of the grip control coating that you have on the surface, which is basically your top layer of polyurethane. And it's really tricky to see in all of the different colorways, but hopefully you can see the light bouncing off of it. It has this rib texturing running the length of the boot. So for those that remember the Mercurial Vapor 11 that had the rib texturing running across, this is pretty much the exact same effect, except they're running this way, and it's a significant amount of texture that's super noticeable to the touch, but also very noticeable on the ball, to the point where this provides significantly more grip when making contact with the ball than what you're going to get from the top end Ultra. And you'll also notice that the majority of the upper is covered in this grip control coating, unlike the top end model. Something else that differs from the top end model is actually a modification that you'll see some of Puma's professional athletes opting for on their custom versions of the Puma Ultra. Sergio Aguero is one that comes to mind. You can see that the lacing system runs directly down the middle, but it's not a one-piece upper. It's actually a traditional standalone tongue that has a synthetic base with a memory foam insert and some nylon material kind of filling in the central portion of the lacing system, which actually does help to reduce any kind of lace bite. You'll notice that it does utilize a dual lace hole setup at the bottom two positions, and then just a single lace hole setup the rest of the way up. And it allows for a really nice, comfortable, secure feel. Obviously, it's significantly easier to put the boots on and take them off. The one thing that I will say is the overall shape of this boot, and you will see it during the on-feet portion of the video. I'm not sure if it's down to the lacing system or just the overall shape that they've gone with. You do get some ugly bulging through the midfoot here on the medial side, although that's something that is going to vary a lot from one person's foot to the next, depending on the shape of your feet, of course. Moving to the rear, you're gonna find a very traditional low-cut construction with a nice synthetic microfiber kind of suede-like liner on the inside. Really, really comfortable, plenty of extra padding, super traditional. I love that. Again, some of the pros are getting this modified on their pairs rather than going with the more modern kind of low-profile heel liner that you have on the top-end Ultra. Then the insole is fully removable. I'll give you guys a quick look at that as well. It does not have the kind of grippier texturing that you have on the top end model. Instead, it's just a standard kind of soft mesh lining material, and it's made from a single layer of white foam. Nothing fancy, but about what you would expect from a boot at this price point. So here are the Ultra 2.2s on feet, looking great in the Spectra Pack colorway, by the way, and looking even better because they're paired with some black Pure Grip socks, which for those that don't know, is my own brand of grip socks that are available in a wide variety of colors for the very affordable price of just $14.99 a pair. If you're interested in trying some out for yourself, the website to visit is puregripsocks.com, which of course will be linked down below. Now, the first thing that I immediately noticed when I put these on for the first time is that the upper is on the stiffer side. If I go to wiggle my toes, there's very little wiggle action happening, and that's because the upper itself is not just stiff, it has a significant amount of structure to it. That fuse layer on the surface is a little bit hard out of the box, but does soften up as you wear them in, but is also surprisingly not uncomfortable. These boots feel really good on feet, and with the laces tied tight, they're nice and secure. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a little bit of bulging through the midfoot just because of the stiffness of the material. That does tend to improve, again, as you wear them in and the material kind of loosens up. But in general, if you just want that traditional fit in terms of having a decent amount of width, a decent amount of volume, and then just a central lacing system and a regular tongue, these just feel very normal and very familiar, which is something that you don't get a lot of in the speed boot category these days. And I can understand why there are professional players that opt for this type of heel construction and this type of tongue and lacing system, just because it feels really good. As far as width is concerned, it's similar to the top end Ultra in that it has some decent width and volume to it, to the point where I would say that these will fit most people because of the slightly stiffer feel to the upper. If you have really wide feet, maybe not the best option, but in general, these will fit just about anybody. And then as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing these in my usual size 9.5 US, and the fit and the length is perfect. So if you're looking to order a pair for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. So in conclusion, is the Ultra 2.2 the best value for money option in the speed boot category if we're talking strictly retail prices? And I think the answer to that question can be yes, depending on what you're looking for. I still think the upper found on the Vapor 14 Pro and the Superfly 8 Pro for that matter, it's so similar to what you're gonna find from that Vapor Posit material on the Elite model. It just feels very good and definitely better than what you get on this. But this is also unique in terms of giving you that kind of older style speed boot, structured, slightly more rigid sensation that I know a lot of people really still like. And surprisingly, it does not feel uncomfortable on this boot, which is kind of refreshing. It feels very unique in comparison to anything else in the category. But upper aside, it's extremely lightweight, lighter than all of its competitors, lighter than most top-end speed boots. The traction is phenomenal. The feel of the sole plate is fantastic. The comfort is great. It's a great looking boot as well, I'll give it that much. And overall, for the money, it just has so much going for it. With that said, the Puma Ultra as a whole doesn't seem to have a lot of hype around it in general. So if you have, let's say, $130 to spend, you might actually be able to find a top-end Puma Ultra on sale for that kind of money, at which point I would definitely go for that. The top-end Ultra is definitely better than the 2.2, but there's also no hype around this, which means that you can pick them up for around $90, sometimes even $80, and for that kind of money, this is just an incredible value. Again, the structured, stiffer feel to the upper might not be for everybody, but if you like that type of sensation, everything else that this boot does, it does extremely well, and for the money, I don't think you can go wrong. Anyways, guys, that's it for my review. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to support it with a like. Again, if you're interested in a pair for yourself, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. If you have any questions, as always, leave it down below in the comment section and I'll do my best to get an answer out to you. If you aren't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching and we'll see you in the next one.